Good morning, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Laurie Fitz, and I'm your host, and the goal of our show is to explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us, that get us thinking, get us talking, get us imagining and exploring, and perhaps inspired or challenged to do just a bit more because we made the connection. So our topic today is empowering young women in Ethiopia and making a difference in families and communities. And we'll be talking about resources enriching African lives. And the acronym that they use is REAL. The name of their organization is REAL, but it's all about enriching African lives. But it also enriches the folks that support it. So co-hosting with me today is Rick, and Rick has invited two wonderful individuals to tell about their work that they're doing with REAL.
I have, and I know Sahai Wodajo, who is founder and executive director of REAL, or Resources Enriching African Lives, is the whole thing. And just the name. And I know her from work with various kind of coaching and transformation work. And a lot of our programs are about how we can be better, not just better, but be in a way that makes a bigger difference. You know, how do we do that in our lives? And we also have Olga Toll Rodriguez, who is a board chair as well. And I heard about this work I didn't even know Sahai and Olga were doing this work until about a few months ago, and I thought this is really so cool. And we covered a lot of grassroots, sort of just the story of how this happens. You know, it's not just magically, boom, you know, we've got this organization and we're doing it. So this will be a wonderful tale and story of how that evolves.
And ways that we can get involved as well.
Yeah.
Sahai and Olga, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad you're here. I'd like for the first segment to learn more about how this all got started and a little background on you, Sahai. But Olga, anytime that you want to jump in and share something as well, you're more than welcome. So, Sahai, I understand that you had a life-changing experience early on that made an impact on you. That was sort of the early genesis of how REAL over the years came to be real. So tell me about your story. Why this is important to you. What happened that made an impact on you early on?
Thank you very much for having us. What made a great impact on me is when I was in 8th grade. In my area, there wasn't high school. It was only from 1st to 8th grade.
And this was in Ethiopia?
In Ethiopia, and where I grew up, a place called Nejo. That school was Swedish missionary school, and that's the only school in our area. So when the time came, I took national exam for 8th grade and promoted to 9th grade. I did not know where I would be. I would have just dropped out because the high school is far away. And to my, I can say, miracle, a Swedish young woman by the name Eva Nordin, she was only 20, and she came to teach there. She got a Rotary scholarship to come and teach there. And so I wrote a letter to her to support me. And later on, I heard that there were lots of kids who asked her for support. But they paid attention, she and others paid attention to my interest and who I am, a hardworking young girl. because at that time I was cutting grass in the compound, to earn some money. So they were paying attention to that. So
You were an entrepreneur.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's how it starts.
So that's how it started. And, she supported me through high school. And I had to leave my home when I was just 14 to go, a very far away. At that time, the road is very tough, even though now you can get there in about 20 or 30 minutes. At that time, it's a day-long drive on a truck. And actually, these trucks that come for goods, to bring goods or transport, and I used to go on the top of the car, the truck, to get there.
It sounds like it was dicey.
You couldn't even have room with the supplies.
All good. All good.
Yeah, so she made a huge difference for me, and there is lots of stories that I had that I transferred into this program that is so dear to me. If someone made a difference for me, I can give back with support of people around me, friends, and
What I hear in your story is that Eve was willing to mentor you.
yes,
Eve was willing to support you, and she saw something in you that was special, and that she wanted to see that be supported and allowed to grow, to have your own voice, to become who you are.
yes,
And what I love is when I went through your website, I see that Eve is still supporting you.
yes. She's still supporting us, and I met with her after over 30 years, and that is also another story. My daughter-in-law is Swedish, and so she helped me to track her, and so that's how we connected. Ever since, she's been supporting, and I think maybe she's on her fourth girl at this time on one of our location.
It's a very heartwarming story, and the joy in both your faces
Yeah.
in that reconnection is really beautiful. And you can see this is where it all got started.
Is-
In that, go ahead, Britt.
Now, isn't there a photo of both of you on your website?
Yes, there
Oh,
is.
that
Yes.
I thought
There is.
that is a beautiful. Go to real-africa.org, and there's so many other photos too. But that you can find that one. That would be a good mission.
Well, we have a couple minutes before we need to go to break, and there's just a few things that I want to make sure that folks know about REAL. As we said, it's Resources Enriching African Lives, and the strength of this organization is really working existing systems to educate girls. I think sometimes when people go over and want to support something, they start from scratch and they realize how difficult it is. I think it's wonderful that you guys are leveraging resources to expand each other and create a real cooperative of ways to work together. And you support education of girls grades 6 through 12. Olga, why don't you just share a little bit about how that works?
Of course, this is quite an inspiring model because when Sahai started the organization, started with 14 girls, 15 girls. And what was important is those girls need to be within the community and supported by the community. So we have partnerships with local communities, local churches who select the girls to be coached and mentored throughout their education. So they go to school like any other girl, but on top of it, they get some mentorship and some support, so that way they continue to learn, they stay in school, they get also some funding for themselves. That way the families also make sure they stay in school because they can get a little bit of money that helps them day to day and ensure that certainly there's value in having our girls being educated. And that's really the big transformation that the model creates, but really important that they're rooted in their community. It's so important that it's not just, we're not doing things alone, we're doing things to strengthen the community, to make sure that not only a girl gets transformed, but as well her community, her country, the world, because you have one girl that really is the catalyst for everybody coming together and seeing the difference.
The other thing that it strikes me is that you can take that one girl and have her go to Sweden, to France, to England, or America.
Yes.
However, that doesn't have them get to know the culture of Ethiopia. It doesn't get them to have the sense of what's the culture, how to get things done in their own culture, what's needed to be effective in Ethiopia may be different than a school that they go to someplace else. So I love the enrichment and the cultural sensitivity and the cultural intelligence that they can gain from the experience of staying in Ethiopia and strengthening the community network and ties.
Absolutely. And then leading their own country.
Yes.
You make leaders
Yes.
that want to make a difference in their own country. And that's so at the heart of everything that Sahai created.
That's wonderful. And with that, we're going to need to take a break, but I want to make sure that folks know two things. Rick's mentioned it. There's a wonderful website to learn more of this, and that's REAL, REAL Africa.org. And they're having a 20-year anniversary celebration. I'd go to that website, real-africa.org, go to the events and learn about it. Fabulous. We're going to be talking a little bit more at the end of the show about all the different things. But for now, mark your calendar. September 14th from 6 to 10. It's at the Union Depot. Lots of cool things that are going to be happening. And if you want to learn about it even before we get to it on the fourth segment, go ahead, go to real-africa.org and go to the events and learn about this wonderful celebration to support the efforts that Real is doing. So with that, we'll go to break and we'll come back in just a few short minutes. Welcome back to Connections Radio Show. I'm Lori Fitz, your host. And on our show, we talk about ideas that matter. Our topic today is empowering young women in Ethiopia and making a difference in families and communities. The name of the organization that we are going to be exploring is called Resources Enriching American Lives. It's Real Africa. And hosting today with me is Rick Bernardo, and Rick's going to introduce the guests that he's invited.
Yes, and we're still with Sahai Wodajo, who is the organization's founder and executive director, and we're also with Olga Toll Rodriguez, who is the organization's board president and chair. And as we went to the break last time, it was Olga speaking, just so you know which voice is which.
Thank you, Rick. I think.
It's a long-term memory now.
Okay.
No.
Sahai, I just wanted to thank you for all the wisdom and knowledge that you bring to support this. And Olga, all of the gifts that you're giving in terms of creating structure and vision for the future and how to take the next steps. In our last segment, we talked a little bit about how it got started, how this was a vision that was grown out of lived experience and continues to grow. In this segment, I'd really love for Olga, who is both the president and chair, to share about a little more nuts and bolts as we started in the last segment to talk about what the organization does in a very tactical way. So we learned that it was about mentoring, and mentoring is sort of the heart of it. But tell me more about how it works and what some of the successes you've had.
So we have a structure-based one here. So we have the board that is based in Minnesota, in Minnesota, and with also sponsors all around the country. And then we have obviously the girls and the community in Ethiopia. So we have today 9 sites in Ethiopia, and at each site we're mentoring 20 girls. So we have today 180 girls that are supported on a yearly basis. And when I mean supported, that means that we gather and fundraise funds over here in the U.S., and then we send it over for the girls to have money for themselves, right, to be able to go to school. We have money for their families, so that way they also see the value in keeping their girl into the education. And they also have some savings. We allow the girls to have some savings, that way when they get to university, they have a jump start in actually being able to allow them to go to university. So that's the structure in Ethiopia. But this is a very lean and mean organization. All of the board are volunteers. We all want to contribute. We have have a diverse board. We have, I think with Sahai, Randy is probably the oldest member of the board that really from the start, and he's our controller. So he has an experience in finance, and he helps us make sure that we keep our finances right and we continue to grow. We also have Kathy. Kathy is our secretary. She is connected to Ethiopia because she was in the Peace Corps, and she was in Ethiopia in the Peace Corps and has maintained a connection. And she also was a teacher and a head of a school. So she is connected to education and the difference that it makes in everyone's life. And then we have also 2 young members. So it's, we're also cross-generationals. Kathy is retired, but we also have 2 young members that are from Ethiopia. Both of their families migrated to the U.S., and they also want to give back to the country where they come from. They are so talented, 2 young ladies, Bantu and Lydia. They are in government, they are in banking, they're trying also to support, young companies to grow for Bantu. Lydia is making a difference in nonprofit and government. So that's a wide variety of talent that we have where we can all lean on each other, bring our talents to support the organization growing, fundraising here. And obviously, Sahai is leading all of this.
Absolutely. I love that it's a very multicultural, age and country of origin and background of experience that allows people to bring, a true transformational vision because each member has an expertise that can support each other in moving it forward. And the vision really is about transformation, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
Allowing those African communities ideally to be empowered by girls and young women. I mean, what a vision that is.
Absolutely.
To celebrate the power of women, because when you invest in women, you are investing in the communal dedication that women have to bring the community, to bring their family, to create a country that allows for that vision of growth and support so that all people can grow. So by supporting one, you support many.
That's right.
But sometimes that's hard to do that. There are challenges that you face in the mentoring process. Some of it's cultural, and those challenges. Have you faced some of those issues in the mentoring?
We have a very good model today. I think for us, and Sahai has done that. We've been putting in place over the years education for the mentors. Sahai goes back twice a year to make sure we educate them, but also we get them connected to one another.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's one of the challenges, that you don't feel isolated. So having all the mentors connected, all the girls connected, so that way they feel like they're sisters to each other. I think that's how we've been able to face the challenges, right, where sometimes you feel just isolated. So that's been really important. But also, I think what has been important is not just about the girls and the mentors. We also have a lot of men supporting what we do. Right, most of the community organizations locally are, led by men as well, and they know the difference that it makes to educate their daughters, their nieces, and that's been really the key in
The
what
paternal
Sahai,
love
absolutely,
to want their daughters
absolutely,
to be
and I think
successful.
there's been
Yeah.
key to the work that Sahai has done over there to really bring the whole communities together, and that's made a massive, massive difference. And I'll say as well, the other piece that is very important is we have 525 girls today that have been going through the program. 82% of those girls are able to go to university. But our challenge is how do we go beyond? How do we have 10,000 girls that go through the program and make that difference? So for us, it's a scale. That's the challenge we're facing today.
Well, as we can look at the impact of what you have done, which I think is important. You've had when you look at just the number of years that you add them all up, there's 2,300 worth of years. 95% of them have completed the program. That's outstanding for a program rate. And 82% of the girls go on to college. So you've proven the model. Exactly. This is obviously one that works, or else you wouldn't have such a high success. But it's the next steps that you started to talk about that I'm also interested in. What's the growth initiative that in particular that you're looking at?
So for us, it's really increasing the number of girls. So what we've done over the last 3 years is really, can we increase the number of sites? Can we increase the number of girls per site that are being supported and mentored? So we've started on that journey. But we have today, as I said, 180 girls. Our goal is to go to 2,000. 2,000 girls, right? And then to 10,000, right? That's the
Yes.
vision that we have, isn't it? So
Yes.
So when you obviously doubled the number of girls, there's other things that need to double with it, or
right.
maybe a geometric progression of more.
Exactly.
So expanding your influence
Absolutely.
and looking at opening 3 new in Western Europe, Ethiopia, I see, and then strengthening your local presence by hiring. You're looking to hire a program director,
Absolutely.
and that will help. That will help with the consistency, and then expanding your partnerships with other organizations, and that has happened because of you being an NGO. That's relatively new, right? And tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, that's new. I just wanted to add a few things
Sure.
from what Olga stated. We have a very young and she's been on my board for a few months. Laka is an amazing addition to our board. So the structure of an international NGO, we're still operating as 501c3, and we established this international NGO because we get this support from individuals. These individual sponsors are our friends of friends. It has been a word of mouth. We have to pass that and expand. And when we are international NGO and we have other programs added to this, there is more likely that we will have international organization partnership like CARE, like Opportunity International. They've been in communication with us so that we can see how we can work together. And that partnership would initiate funding. As she stated, all of us are volunteers, so to speak. And I, too, I'm not a paid person. So, but we
you're
need.
paid with your heart.
Oh my God! It's more than
Sometimes-
money.
Sometimes the fulfillment of your heart.
I cannot
Yeah.
even count. But
Yeah.
for us, expanding needs to hire someone here to administer that, and also a country director there. And we have a lot of inspiring stories that we'll share with you maybe later on.
Next segment, I definitely want to have some more of the stories because we're running a little bit out of time in this segment, but that's fine. We can go a little bit over.
And one thing, NGO means non-government organization or non-government. It's
Yes.
like a non-profit in this country. So that's what
Good
we're
point.
talking about.
Good
Yes,
point.
yes,
Good
yes.
point.
Thank you.
Some of us nonprofit folks just go right to NGO.
We're
and
used
forget
to that
it's-
if we've
Yes.
met anybody from any other place that does nonprofit work.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to learn more about the stories because I think it's the stories that enrich and allow us to feel connected and that we relate to. But I also want to mention before we go to break, in sharing who has been participating on your board, you also have committees that are always welcoming new people to be a part of. So you've got some wonderful individuals that lead those committees from your board, and I just want to mention a few of them. So if any of what we've talked about so far kind of strikes a chord and you go, well, what could I do? The board has a finance committee, a program committee, volunteer coordination, events and fundraising that are part of those events. So if something kind of pulls at your heart and that you think that you can make a difference and want to make a difference but just don't know how, you can go to their website and learn about the organization And is there a way for people to sign up and volunteer on the website as well? If not, is there a contact place that they can go to?
I believe there is, and then they can just otherwise use the email getreal at real-africa.org, and then we will respond.
All right. And that's info at to get the,
Getreal at.
oh, Get Real.
Getreal.
Oh, I love that.
Get real, man.
Let's get real.
Yes. Real.
And be real. We are real.
You gotta get it first.
It's real-africa.org. We're going to go to break now, but when we come back, we'll be sharing more stories about this wonderful organization and the people who work with emerging leaders and who these emerging leaders are. So stay with us. Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and our topic today is empowering young women in Ethiopia and making a difference in families and communities. And this is part of the Resources Enriching African Lives, and they go by the acronym REAL, real-africa.org is their website. And this is a topic that Rick Bernardo, my co-host, brought to Connections Radio Show. And he has two guests that he's brought that we've been having a wonderful conversation with. I'm going to let Rick say a few things about both our guests as well as why this is important to him and bringing it to our show today.
Sure. And yes, I'm Rick Bernardo, and we've got Sahai Wardajo, the organization's founder and executive director, whom I met, I don't know, how many years ago through some mutual coaching kind of leadership work. And also we've got Olga Tol Rodriguez, who's the board president and chair of Resources Enriching African Lives. And as we were speaking earlier, I was struck by, why is it that people would gather around or pay attention and just be drawn to supporting children in anywhere, let alone, and it occurred to me that when I was working with public health, especially social justice and public health, or what's fair and what's not fair, there was a group called Target Market. And it was all the children leading the movement to sort of get in tobacco companies' faces and go, don't target us for addiction. And everybody who saw them or heard them in their leadership roles in turn was inspired, and I could see that we could all see ourselves in them, in the youth. And it was because we know, I think spiritually, that's our future. That's all we have left,
That's a wonderful concept to be thinking about how, but maybe it's not that new. Let
No.
a child lead us is really a concept that is part of who we are. Let the child lead us, because they do have the vision of the future in ways that perhaps we can't imagine anymore. There was a story, a short quote that you wanted to share, and I'd love to hear it. And this is Olga.
I do.
And Olga, again, is the chair and president of REAL.
I do. I've seen, her name is Maheder. She started when she was 13 years old with REAL. And I've seen pictures of her when she was 13, and I see pictures of her today. And what a transformation. And so inspiring, as you're saying, Rick. And in our website, there is a quote from her, and I just want to review a little bit because it will illustrate her transformation and her transformation within her own family. She says, when I was 13 years old, I was responsible for taking care of my family. It was hard to learn because I couldn't pay my school fees in time and study too hard because of the hard workload that I had. That was the worst moment of my life. But thanks to REAL, I can pay my fees and fulfill what I need in order to keep my education today and even help my family. And she adds, all my family believes in me now. And really, her transformation is exceptional. When she wrote this, she was in mechanical engineer. How many girls go to mechanical engineer? And she completed her education. And today she's even moved into fashion design. And that's a girl who the windows opened for her, and there was nothing impossible just for her to follow her heart. And I think that's one of the beautiful examples that we have. And
One of the things that I read in your on your website, and I'm going to give the website address again for those that may not have heard that. It is REAL, REAL Africa.org. Is that some of the girls that you work with in turn become mentors. And so the work that you do is sort of the gift that keeps on giving. And it goes to the next generation with their voice and their leadership. So you're building not only their ability to be successful, but then their ability to take that and give back.
Yes, and that is the story that I would like to share. Seble, also she was in 6th grade when she joined, and she was living with relatives and 11 family members in the home, and she had to overcome so much. And she completed her university, and she became a psychologist and a teacher, and now she came back to be the girls program manager. Mm-hmm. She works with all of the girls. And in that, she also connects with the mentors. We have 9 mentors that she communicates with because we wanted to know each and every girl, their status, what is doing, what is happening. So she is the one. Actually, hopefully, she will get her visa. She is going for an interview on August 27. If she happened to come, she's going to be, the story of this organization. And then there are others also who became mentors. We hired them, and they are mentors for our girls, especially in one of the locations called Nekamt. It's also our girl who became a mentor. Yes, it's the story is amazing. I was thinking, if we bring their voice here, she will say, I am a mechanical engineer, I'm a water resource engineer, I am civil engineer, I am a flight attendant, you name it. I am a medical doctor, I am a nurse, I am a teacher, I am an accountant.
And you know what else I love about it? They can also say, I have a voice and people listen.
Yes.
And that in itself, no matter what career they pursue, if they feel their voice is important, yes, if they have confidence that their voice can be shared and be heard, it's all a very powerful gift that you're giving not only to that young woman, but again to the community and again to the country itself.
That's right.
You just this last year worked with getting the non-government organization, NGO in Ethiopia, and you took a trip with Bantu. And I was moved by that. You had written about this in your annual report for last year, and your ongoing goal in going back to Ethiopia, and that experience. If you want to just share a little bit about that, I thought that would be. I was moved by reading, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that experience.
Okay, thank you. We each time I go twice a year. One of my trip is focused on bringing all the mentors together, and sometimes also those who support the program as program administrators and also accountants. We bring them together. So this particular event was when we celebrated our 18th year anniversary. So we brought 3 girls from each location and the mentor, and it was really an amazing experience for most of them. Some of the girls, beyond their own village, they don't even know what the city looks like. And, just to see the the capital city of Addis Ababa by itself. When you say, like, I'm a leader now, I have a voice, like, they come and see that. That was totally additional transformative for those girls. In addition to that, for them to come from different locations, interacting with each other, and this they were sisterhood in their own little places, but now beyond that little 20, they have a bigger sisterhood.
The ahas.
Yes.
That connects, which I just love, that the recognition, oh, you're doing that, oh, I'm doing that. But what could we do if we did it together? What would that look like?
Yeah.
That must be so cool for them.
Yes, yes.
And it also in part of your letter, you talked about the future, doing that very thing, engaging graduates to be members, to be mentors, developing the entrepreneurship programs, and to get at least 3 new locations going. That's very powerful. And you hope to launch these sometime in the future, but in order to do that, you need funds. And
Correct.
some of the things that we want to talk about in the next segment is really a couple different ways. One of the most immediate ways to get involved and get engaged is with a great special event that's taking place. Olga, do you want to share a bit about the fundraiser coming up? And we'll talk more about it in the next segment and other ways that people can get involved. But I would love to just have at least a short overview about what this event is like.
Absolutely. We are celebrating the 20-year anniversary, right? So we thought, what could we do to really mark the moment of 20 years of our existence and so many girls? So we will have a celebration, but also that's a celebration as the start of our own growth expansion. So we'll use the funds to really start and continue to expand and accelerate the growth of the organization. The event will be great. There'll be so much. There will be speakers. There'll be dancing. There's going to be music. It's just going to be so fun to be. And it's for us a way just to celebrate education, celebrate the girls, celebrate everybody that wants to come and contribute to this growth.
And I'll just give the details. It's September 14th from 6 to 10. It's going to be at the Union Depot. So to get your tickets, you can go to real-africa.org, go to the events. There's a little tab for events, and it'll tell you all about it. And it should be a delightful and wonderful experience. And you'll learn more about that experience in our next segment. We'll talk about not only that party, but other ways that you can be supporting this vision. And we'll be right back.
Overcoming substance use disorder and understanding addiction.
Listen this week as we discuss communication styles and how to connect with people who use drugs and alcohol and the intersections with individuals struggling with substances.
So please tune in to Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution, this Saturday at 10 a.m. or find our podcast on your favorite app.
Welcome back. We're so glad that you're joining us here on Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. And we've been having a wonderful conversation on empowering young women in Ethiopia and having that make a difference to families and communities. This is REAL, and REAL stands for Resources Enriching African Lives. And this was brought to Connections Radio Show by my co-host, Rick Bernardo.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you, Rick.
me?
Yep.
Yes, hi. And we've got Sahai Wodajo and Olga Tol Rodriguez, both from that organization. Executive director is Sahai, and the chair of the board and president is Olga. And so good. We've been hearing wonderful stories that are inspiring, heartwarming, and really make a serious difference.
And we've got a great event coming up. I think that's probably how you first heard about Real in a Real Way, was this is a great celebration coming up for their 20 years. It's on September 14th from 6 to 10 at the Union Depot. Love to hear about what's going to happen at this event. So who would like to go first? Sahai?
Okay, I'll go first.
All right.
And then
Sahai is the founder and leader of Real.
Yes. What would happen is we have really a packed, when I say packed, inspiring, motivational, knowledge gaining event. So we will start with cocktail, where we have flute, professional flutist playing for an hour. We will have really a good time there. And then we have very dynamic speakers. And our master of ceremony, her name is Dr. Verna Price, and she is internationally known human potential expert who specializes in personal power, excellence, cross-cultural communication, leadership, and change. Actually, people listening to her will come away for themselves with something.
They should be like maybe certified after that. This is the certification process. Maybe a professional engagement opportunity.
Yes. Yeah. And then we have Cheryl Thomas. She's executive director, Global Rights for Women. She will really underline why is this work very important. She focuses on violence against women worldwide, and she will look at the general, global, and bring it to Africa, and then bring it to Ethiopia. And she
I think people best learn through specific experience.
Yes.
And then they can broaden it to worldwide applications.
Yes. And then we have a special guest coming from Ethiopia. This is actually our first time in able to have special guests and someone coming from Ethiopia, presiding judge from Federal Supreme Court of Ethiopia.
Wow.
And she will specifically focus on, she will tell her own story, her journey, how she became, how she reached to this position.
Yeah.
She's the highest, that's the highest position.
That'd be interesting.
Yes.
How do you say her name?
Itmet Asafa Asamire.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So.
And so tickets for this, I believe, are $125?
Yes.
And worth every penny because it's both supporting the work in future, but it's also educational.
Exactly.
If you feel passionate, which I hope you do, about empowering women, especially in this time in our world where women's voices are more and more being heard and listened to and respected, and when we can reach out and support the future of this organization, we're really making a difference.
And,
so go ahead.
And any funds and any contribution at all will be. We were hearing how fantastically that will be leveraged and expanded geometrically. Yeah.
I also want to just give about 3 other very quick overviews of what you specifically can do to support this organization. When you support a girl, you support the education of a girl with only $1 a day. That's $360 a year, and you can follow her development over the year. Very special way to be able to support the organization. Or you might want to empower a mentor. The mentor creates a sisterhood with the girls, and they learn together and support each other. And with a support of a mentor with less than $4 a day, with a $1,440 commitment, or we could round it up to $1,500, you're making a difference with that mentor. And then you can support a site. And then you can make a difference for a whole community and empower 20 girls. And that is at $8,640. I'd also encourage you to make that a nice round $10,000 to support the site. We only have about a minute left, but I want to make sure that I get both Olga and Sahai to have just a closing comment in encouraging people to be part of your organization.
I can go first. Come join us on the 14th. This is about transforming the life of women. Obviously in Ethiopia, but here as well. Everybody's going to come, is going to walk back so inspired to transform their own life and look around them. Why can I make that difference? Here, education matters everywhere.
And most of the dollars that they are going to give are going to go right into the organization.
They go right into the organization. We have very little, as we said, we're all volunteers. Everything goes to Ethiopia.
That's wonderful.
Including someone who gave us her office.
Oh.
We don't pay for office administration we don't have administration cost that much. So this is a great opportunity. Well, I'll say, look at me. This
And
is a great opportunity.
And look, there may be another Sahai out there that starts a whole other organization for a vision of the future.
They are.
Thank you for being inspiring. And thank you.
Africa.org. Sorry.
No, there's the web. Again, that's important for you to know. Real-Africa.org. Learn more about it. Thank you for being part of our conversation today. And if you feel like that this has been something that touches your heart, do something about it and enjoy. Thank you. Bye-bye.